welcome back. Hee hee. Okay, so I made some animal style fries. I fucking love animal style fries, so I'm really excited. I'm just gonna get right into eating. I realized that there is a difference between caramelizing onions and burning your onions. Mine veer more on the burning side, but that's okay. Okay, let's taste it. Oh my god, this is everything. Wow, okay. I'm gonna need a napkin and some water. I'll be right back. So today I'm going to be talking about something that is not talked about enough, which is the creepo that is Dan Schneider from Nickelodeon. This is so hard to eat in like a clean, neat way. Before I really delve into the whole Dan Schneider thing, I just wanted to give a trigger warning because I am going to talk about pedophilia and the exploitation of child actresses. So totally understand if it's something you just want to skip over. I just wanted to let you know because it is a sensitive subject. So I'm sure you all grew up, well, at least my generation, with The Amanda Show, Drake and Josh, all that, iCarly, Victorious. I've never really watched Victorious, but all of those shows were produced by Dan Schneider. The first reason why Dan Schneider is an absolute creep is because he has a foot fetish and he has found a way to incorporate his foot fetish into almost every single show that he's produced. Thinking about it now, like when I really think about all the like foot imagery that was in the shows he produced, now I'm like, oh my god, like this is so disturbing. But obviously at that age I didn't realize it because, you know, we're young, like we don't know, and like it's not like my parents ever like sat down to watch The Amanda Show or Drake and Josh with me, so they didn't really know what was going on either. I never sat there and was like, wow, there's a lot of foot imagery in these shows, like maybe that means something. No, I didn't think that, you probably didn't think that, but the whole story behind it is Dan has a foot fetish and he's creepy. There was an entire episode of Victorious dedicated to feet. The whole episode was about the characters finding some like lotion that made their feet really like smooth, and the whole episode like the characters were like stroking each other's feet. There also was an episode in Victorious where Ariana Grande had to eat her foot. It was so gross, dude. And Dan Schneider would constantly tweet pictures of these child actresses' feet, like, and nobody thought to say that this wasn't normal. Like, I'll read you some of the tweets. So some of his tweets included, who wants to see Jeanette McCurdy's toes? I got plenty of pics to go around if you tune into the new iCarly episode Eyeballs this Friday on Nick. Another tweet, Carly tickles Sam's very unusual toes. If you have a moment, will you please name Sam's toes for us? Another one, little Ariana Grande from Victoria smiles at one of her co-stars' feet, but whose foot is it? All these tweets included pictures of these people's feet. There's more. Oh, and this is really bad. He actually solicited feet pics from fans of the TV show. There was a spin-off from iCarly and Victorious called Sam and Cat. I never watched it, but apparently it didn't do that well. But on the Twitter page of this show, which Dan Schneider runs, he tweeted, Sam and Cat tomorrow, right on the bottom of your foot, take a pic and use Sam and Cat Saturday. We'll retweet and follow until our fingers get sore. And like fans sent their feet pics in. Fans literally drew on their feet and sent them to him. What a creep, what a creep. He just did that so he could get a ton of feet pics from people. Also, this one extra on the Amanda Show replied to this Reddit thread. There was a Reddit thread saying basically how Dan Schneider is like the most successful TV producer in like child television or something, and she replied to this thread saying one time when she was an extra on the Amanda show, Dan went over to her and asked her if she was ticklish. He was like, I'll pay you $100 to see if you're ticklish. She was assuming that he was just gonna like tickle her under the armpit or something, which still is really messed up. But he took her to his office and basically gave her a foot massage and a ton of compliments. How weird, dude. This girl was like fucking 16. Like, bye. These fries are bomb. They're so good and I want to like freak out on how good these are. But I also like, I'm so mad at Dan Schneider that it's hard to like be really happy about these fries. It's just something that is not talked about enough, and I feel like people look at those shows like the Amanda show and they're like, oh my god, these shows were so iconic, but when they look at who was behind it, you know, you think and you're like, oh wait, this is fucked up. I definitely burnt the onions. Another thing regarding Dan's obsession with feet, there was this podcast called Revenge of the Cis where they did a segment on Dan Schneider, and this girl came on to like say her piece about Dan Schneider, and she said that when she was auditioning for Nickelodeon shows, apparently when she went into the audition, they like had a group of 40 people that were like in the final round, and her agent told her before going in to meet Dan Schneider that she needed to take off her shoes and run around in front of the camera and talk about how much she liked being barefoot. And then her mom took her out of the audition because her mom was like, this is fucking weird. What kind of producer does that? So then she was blacklisted from ever auditioning for any Nickelodeon show ever. Like, fuck you Nickelodeon, fuck you Dan Schneider. Messed up. Trust me, if you go on YouTube and type up Dan Schneider, like, foot fetish, you'll see all the scenes from all these TV shows you've watched, and you'll realize that you were watching some man satisfy his foot fetish on television. I made the sauce so good. I'm actually kind of proud of myself. Not only did Dan Schneider have a foot fetish, but there are so many instances of him being very touchy with his female co-stars. For example, I'm sure you all remember the segment in the Amanda show called Amanda's Jacuzzi. In one of the scenes of the segment, Dan Schneider was fully clothed in a hot tub with Amanda Bynes, who was 13 at the time, in a bathing suit, like answering questions as a part of like the segment of the show. There's no other reason for that kind of behavior other than that he's a fucking pedophile and a creep. Like, no good director is gonna get into a hot tub with a 13-year-old girl in a bathing suit. Like, thinking about it now, like, I just watched that thinking it was normal that like a 40-year-old man was in a hot tub with this 13-year-old girl. Also, if you look up like pictures of Dan Schneider with his like cast members, the pictures he takes with them, it's like, it's not like he's just like sitting next to them smiling. That's not what it is. He's like, these girls are like sitting on top of his lap. Like, it's really messed up. A 13-year-old girl should not be sitting on their 40-year-old producer's or director's lap. That's not normal. Like, go on Google Images and type up like Dan Schneider and Amanda Bynes or Dan Schneider and Miranda Cosgrove or any of his cast members. And what's even more messed up is that these photos were readily available online throughout the TV show. Like, he like didn't think it was wrong. And like the parents didn't say anything. Like, if I was a parent and I saw my daughter sitting on this grown man's lap on set, I'd be like, oh honey, you are out of this TV show. Immediately. I'm like abandoning some of these onions. Ah! One fell. I see a lot of people do like McDonald's version of these fries. Like, they get McDonald's fries and do it, but I just got regular shoestring fries at the supermarket and they taste just like McDonald's fries. Well, not just like McDonald's fries, but they taste pretty similar. Yeah, not only did he take pictures with these girls, apparently he ran a boot camp at his pool, like at his house. I'm pretty sure it was at his house, but he basically ran like a comedy boot camp for young child actresses. Basically he hosted pool parties, separated these kids from their parents, and did this as a way to find new talent. And apparently that's actually how Hilary Duff and Megan Fox were found. Dan Schneider found them because they went to one of these boot camp pool parties hosted by Dan Schneider. Again, parents, why are you allowing this? And these kids don't know, you know? They just want a career. They want to do what they love. Like, it's just so gross that older men like Dan Schneider take advantage. It's disgusting. It's also no secret that Dan Schneider sexualized female actresses in his shows. Poor Ariana Grande. Everybody like came for her that one time. Like there was this girl on TikTok that kept imitating Ariana Grande's character Kat from Victorious. And Ariana Grande came out and said, she was like, listen, I don't like that this girl is imitating that character. I just want to forget about that part of my life. Everybody came for her because they're like, oh my God, you're so ungrateful. This is how you got your start. Like, why don't you want to talk about it or be known for Victorious? Because she probably was traumatized from being sexualized by Dan Schneider for years when she was like a teenager. Okay, I made a lot of sauce. The ratio said to put more like mayo than ketchup, but I just did an even amount because I like the both of them equally. You know what I mean? So yeah, poor Ariana Grande. There's so many scenes of Victorious, too many to name. There's this one scene where her character Kat is doing like an online video or something, or she's filming a video to put online. And she's on her bed, which already gives me like creepy vibes. She's wearing like a low-cut top. She takes a potato and she starts doing this with a potato, screaming, "Get the juice out!" Like she's like jerking off a potato basically. In that same scene, she like wants to see if she can drink water upside down. So she's laying down with this like revealing shirt on, sitting upside down, pouring water on herself like, can I drink water upside down? As like she's getting like wet. Dan Schneider was probably like getting off from watching that. Also, it's a kid's show. Nobody wants to, that's not funny. That's clearly you being a creep trying to sexualize Ariana Grande. Also, there's in that same scene, again, it was this entire scene, she was like saying like random sentences. I don't know. I didn't really watch Victorious. Like it was never that funny to me. But she said this in this scene. Oh man, my uvula got stuck between a hamster's toes. And then she demonstrated where her uvula was by like sticking her finger in her mouth and making like a gagging noise. Like, and again, Dan Schneider, there's no way he thought like, oh, this is an innocent thing I'm gonna have her do. Hell no. He wanted to see her do that, like on television. It's so disgusting. It's so disgusting. Nickelodeon ended up firing Dan Schneider in 2018. They said it was because all of his shows were closing up and he wasn't getting the ratings that he needed. I've heard that Nickelodeon knew about all the tweets, all the foot fetish, and I think that's genuinely why they fired him. But God forbid if they say that out loud, all the creepy shit that he did. Like, you have to take ownership for that. Nickelodeon allowed this man to sexualize these young child stars throughout his entire career. And they just fired him in 2018 because his shows were closing up and he wasn't getting the good ratings he needed. Fuck that. That's not fucking true. There were a lot of people who were convicted of sexual assault of a minor during their time on Nickelodeon. One example being Brian Peck. Brian Peck was an actor and producer. He worked alongside Dan Schneider on All That and The Amanda Show, and in 2004 he was convicted of several acts of sexual abuse towards a minor and was sentenced to 16 months in prison. These acts included attempted sodomy of a person under 16, sexual penetration by foreign object, oral copulation by anesthesia or controlled substance. And those were only some of the things he was convicted of. 16 months in prison for that? There's non-violent drug offenders that get longer than that. And This man was released after 16 months and he still went on to work on kids' shows. And that happened with a lot of other people too. There was a guy on the Amanda Show who was arrested. I think he spent like 6 years in prison for sexually assaulting a minor. And guess what? When he was released, he went back to work on fucking Nickelodeon. What's his name? Jason Handy. In 2004, he was arrested and sentenced to 6 years in prison for molestation and possession of child pornography. He worked on the Amanda Show and all that. Again, with Dan Schneider and this guy, Brian Peck. Sounds like a ton of pedophiles working together. And guess who allowed it? Nickelodeon. So messed up. It makes me so mad. I just thought it'd be important to let you guys know all the shady shit that happened behind the scenes of all your favorite childhood shows. Basically, a pedophile was producing them. I can't watch The Amanda Show or Drake and Josh the same ever again. And I think I recently rewatched Drake and Josh like last year or something. I just found out about all this stuff recently because I saw it on TikTok. That's the thing about TikTok, like I feel like people get wrong. Like there is a lot of misinformation spread around TikTok, but there's also things like this spread around TikTok, which is really important to know, especially since Dan Schneider has never faced any repercussions. Alright, I'm getting full, but I hope you enjoyed this like story time. Not really story time. I also apologize if I didn't do that well at explaining things. I'm not great at eating and explaining things thoroughly. Thank you for watching, you guys. Special shout out to Tiago. Thank you so much for being such a loyal subscriber. Also, I'm really sorry that I liked one of your Instagram pictures from like last year. Not me stalking your page. Okay, anyway, thanks for watching, you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.